So obviously, me and you have known each other for what is it, 6 years
Yeah, since lockdown.
since lockdown? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess the first thing I want to understand from you is how did you end up going down the rabbit hole you're in, which you'd agree is pretty niche.
Yes.
So I guess I explain the last 5 years what you've done in terms of like an educational standpoint.
So I'm an engineering graduate. So I did my engineering graduation in electronics and instrumentation and passed out in 2015 and then went straight to corporate. But I was very much interested in human body. So I was back then I was helping people get in shape, lose fat and gain muscle, and I did all the personal trainer certification courses that you know of. So I did those, and it was pretty interesting because the way human body adapts and changes, that used to make me very curious and interested. And from there I thought, okay, like, I love the human body so much, I'm not loving my corporate job. What do I do now? I'm young, I have a choice. Either you live it, start over, or you end up regretting later because of the choice that you didn't make. So I thought, okay, let's just live it. If nothing happens, I'll come back to corporate. I left my job in 2018 and started studying strength and conditioning, because then back during that phase I was more into, okay, I have trained enough gen pop, I want to train athletes, so let's do strength and conditioning. So I studied nscs cscs, the strength and conditioning stuff, and I did my internship at a football club in India for 6 months and came back home because lockdown started. I came back home after the internship ended. I was kind of messed up. I didn't know where the career was going, and I was going through a very low phase. I didn't know how to figure things out. And I thought, okay, let me do strength and conditioning MS in UK. Maybe there are a lot of colleges which do MS in strength and conditioning. So that was going through
That's
my mind.
that's
Yeah,
coming.
that was going through my mind. And
Right. Okay.
and in order to search that, I started to use Instagram to get in touch with people from UK or coaches and clinicians from US, so that I know what to do. Like, I was totally lost. No one around me has ever gotten into this domain ever. So I started talking to them, and most of them told me, like, there's no need for you to do any MS in coming to the UK. So I'm like, okay, then what should I do? And within that time frame, I found few accounts which were talking about how stretching doesn't really help, and you know how breathing is more important to mobility than stretching. So I was like,
Who
oh
did
shit.
you follow, or who did you see through social media?
Say that again.
What was the first account you kind of stumbled
I
across?
would say Rua Gilna. He's a good friend of mine, the
Yeah.
biomechanist from New Jersey. Um,
Yeah.
so he's deep into PRI stuff. So I found he's an Irish as well, living in New Jersey. So I found that account and I found, like, oh wow, this is very contradicting to what I've studied till now. And I did not dismiss it, probably because don't come with the previous baggage. So I'm not academically like a physio or a chiropractor. So I didn't have any past baggage. So I talked to him, like, what is this? It's very new to me. And he explained to me, like, okay, this is uh, how you actually improve mobility, how you actually improve strength without losing space, and all those stuff. He talked to me, and I was like, very interesting, because I have studied all this dynamic stretching, static stretching, and warm up and cool down and blah blah blah. And suddenly this guy comes and tells me all this, which is so unique. I asked him, what should I do next? He said, do PRI courses, because you will help a lot of people get out of pain, manage pain, and train or live a day to day life pretty well if you understand how breathing and movement works. I was very intrigued.
So you went from training people in terms of fitness to pain management,
Yes,
sort of just by exposure of what you saw through someone's social media account.
yeah. I was clueless. So I saw all this stuff. Um, saw their website, PRI website. I felt like, oh shit, this is pretty medical, like, looks very medically inclined. Am I even qualified? Will I be even able to do it? And then I, s- I thought, okay, let's start doing it, and then we'll take one course at a time, one step at a time. I started with myokinematic restoration. It kind of made all sense, maybe because of my engineering background. Things started to make sense. I could visualize things. Then did the pelvis and respirational course, and then things started to make a lot more sense. And he had told me that there is a huge market gap. There's a huge market of people desperate for solutions but are unable to find it because the medical system is failing them. Um they cannot bridge from pain to either day-to-day life comfortably or pain to performance, whether they want to get to the gym and work out or whatever their fitness goals are. I saw this, I realized it, like, yes, definitely there's a huge market. Be- Prior to that, I used to think, okay, people have pain, they go to physios, they probably get better, and then they get back to their life. But then I realized, no, this is not the scenario. The market is actually pretty big. And then I started. So I started posting a little bit after doing those courses. There's a friend of mine who used to have left sciatica issues and had messaged me saying that I saw you posting all this stuff on Instagram. I have a lot of issues in my left sciatica. My life has become hell. My spinal surgeon has told me I need surgery. Without surgery, nothing's gonna help. So I don't want to do surgery. Can you do your drills on me? I'm okay with it. I said I just learned all this stuff and I don't know if this will work on you.
No.
Yeah, because spinal surgeon told you that surgery is the only option. Like, how can I help in this situation? He said, don't worry. Worst case scenario has already happened to me. Nothing worse can happen from here on. So do your stuff. 2 days I did it on him, 2 sessions, and by the end of first week, and you know, like how naive and the implementation was pretty horrible back then. And within a
Yeah,
week, he
yeah.
said his straight leg raise improved significantly. His sciatica pain was all gone. And that was a huge jaw drop moment for me because he was surprised. Dude, what did you do on me that it went away? I said, I tried with whatever I learned, but then it was more jaw drop moment for me than him because I now understood, okay, this is where I want to dive deep into. This is going to be my niche. And and I'm like, no, I don't want to do the transformation thing anymore because now I think I found my niche and I can get a lot of clients. So if I just get going and dive deep into it, I knew it was going to be pretty hard and I have to master a lot of skills, but that was a huge moment for me. And since then, 2020 and 2021 start, I think that was. And from since then, no looking back. I was deep into this stuff. Yep. Since then.
So do you feel like you got hooked on pain management because of the satisfaction it gave you? That the fact that he was gonna had to have surgery, and it was you with like little confidence, little education at the time that was able to make a change,
Yes.
and it was just like a certain level of satisfaction being able to help that person that got you hooked into just continuing doing it.
Yes, the satisfaction level is extreme, and that comes over time. But back then, more than satisfaction, it was like, what did I do? That
Yeah,
was the reaction. Like, what did I do, man? That it became so good. Then I thought, nah, okay, this cannot be a coincidence. I have to make it a repeatable action so that I get repeatable outcomes with people who approach me from here on. So since then, no looking back. That was the moment when I understood like my niche.
yeah, that's interesting. So based on that, then, do you do you have restrictions yourself that you manage day to day, and what does that look like for you? Because obviously you critically assess your own movement, right, all the time because you're in that lens of it. So, is there any movement restrictions that you currently have that you're fighting daily just to maintain, or that you have like pain with? Because no one tends to ask like the physio or the rehab guy what they're doing for their own pain management and to see if they're going through the process themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen you talk about pain or limitations that you have yourself. So this is maybe the first time you've been asked it.
Yeah. The touch wood, there are no symptoms. I'm pretty doing pretty well. No symptoms at all. Maybe some on some days if I sleep less or I'm pretty stressed, like traveling a lot. The last time that I had was back in Europe, where in Europe you have to walk 20,000, 30,000 steps a day. And I did it with my Air Jordans. Those are not for walking, by the way. So that gave me a little bit of right adductor tightness, but that's it. That's the max I face.
Very, very minor.
Yeah, very minor. So I'm very, very happy with the state my body is in. And I do a lot of homework. A lot of homework is in the volume. The number of exercises are pretty low, but movement limitations, no, are like nothing that hinders me either in the gym or in day-to-day life. And that is a huge, huge blessing. I understand. I don't take it for granted. I do it every day. Few drills, but the
So
time
you have a
invested
daily
is
routine for yourself. You have a daily routine for
Oh
yourself
yeah,
then.
yeah, daily routine. Yes, perfect. I do it.
What is that? Just out of interest.
So I use either a metal bottle or a foam roller, 10 centimeter diameter foam roller to sit on. I separate my sit bones and then sit on it so that it keeps my sit bones separated, and I just breathe in and out in that position, seated position. I keep it on a stool, the foam roller, and then sit on it, and maybe keep my iPad on the chair and just watch content or reply to emails or whatever it is. So that way I can integrate it into my day-to-day life. Before I sleep, I do a lot of side lying rolling and uh, supine hook line breathing before sleep. So that's what I do. Um, and during sessions with my clients, I sometimes end up doing the exercises along with them. So I also get
Quite a
my
lot of
work.
times.
So I also get my work done.
Yeah, nice. So the only issue you have is a little bit of right adductor. You have
No,
a small routine.
that was back when I like walked
So
in.
you don't. That's not present now then.
No. It was like 20, 30,000 steps a day with Air
Yeah.
Jordans. So that gave me a little bit of that. Otherwise, no. In day to day life, no. Just
So not a crazy routine, just something to keep things at bay as such.
really basics, and really doing it for a good amount of time to change the shape of the bones. Most of my stuff is using hard objects to change the shape of the bones, and that is what gives me the biggest ROI.
So going back to sitting on a ball or a foam roller, if anyone's listening to this, they're going to think, "What the hell? What is going on there?" Right? And like a couple of years ago, I might have thought the same. So what is the concept? And I know this, but if anyone's listening, but what is the concept of you sitting on this ball? Just briefly explain it. I don't know, like a minute, just to explain that concept. Oh,
Yeah.
you've literally got the pelvis.
Yeah, I kept my pelvis and foot along with me, so if in case any explanation is needed. So a lot of people, like every human, the hip mobility issues start when the sit bones get too close to each other, and that closes off this space right here. So if I can keep this space open as much as possible, that will help me in preserving my hip rotation, my hip mobility, as well as it will make my day-to-day life, as well as in my gym, the lifts will get way easier for me. So, and I use a foam roller or a metal bottle, usually a metal bottle, because it's hard. So hard substance
So a
changing the
foam,
shape.
like a normal size foam roller as well. You're talking about, or you're talking about a skinnier one because you said a
Yeah,
10 centimeter
10 centimeter
diameter.
diameter. Yes, not the 15 centimeter one.
I
So
didn't know you could buy such a small foam roller.
yeah, I mean, mini roller, it's available. Uh, it's not the widely spread one, but yeah, there is definitely a mini foam roller that you get with 10 centimeter diameter, or a metal bottle which you can use to like sit hard surface, changing the shape of a hard surface, which is the bone, and that helps a lot in day-to-day life. So anyone who watches this, just doing this one drill for 30 minutes a day for the next 3 months, and you will feel way better in day-to-day life.
It's weird because you say 30 minutes a day, but to be honest, we're sitting for a lot of the day anyway, so it's just a case of sitting on that. Do we need to sit on a hard stool though? We can't obviously sit on something cushion because then the object will effectively sink
Yeah.
into that, right?
Yeah, it's better if you sit on a hard stool. That would be the optimal one. But if you're sitting on your office chair, make sure it's a like foam roller is hard, the high density, and or the bottle that you're using is high density, so that it does not give in on the cushion as much, so it can penetrate deeper between your sit bones.
Makes sense. I think you explained that pretty well. So, so based on that, um, if we were looking at the typical problems that people come to you with, like just on the law of averages, based on everyone you see, what do you feel like the biggest limitation is that is across the board for most people? And do you feel like that drill with sitting on a ball or a foam roller is something that probably everyone could be doing?
Yeah, so the two biggest issues that I find with people is outlet closed, the pelvic outlet, this space being closed, and the ribs being immobile. They're really hard and it doesn't move. So if you do a drill which opens your outlet, if you, and of course you can breathe on top of it. Sometimes people, the stiffer you are, the more sensitive it is. A lot of people will have a hard time to sink in and relax into the sit bone drill. That's fine, just sit on it, and slowly with days and weeks you will start to relax and be able to breathe in and out really well. But along with the sit bone opening, if you do a side lying or supine or prone, whatever suits you at this point, if you can move your ribs well, you should be doing pretty well in the next 3 months if you put the two together. Like a ribcage specific, like a relaxed drill where you are focused on
Yeah.
opening the
So
ribcage.
obviously, because I'm dishing out these sort of exercises as well to reduce stress and get people more relaxed in the attempts of freeing up motion. So how important do you think like being able to relax in a drill, like one of these drills, how important is that in terms of getting the change that you want as well? Because obviously, I think it's a massive importance to get someone to relax. If we're doing a rolling drill, if you're not relaxed and you're stiff, you're not going to get them changes that you want, right?
Yes. If you're not relaxed, you will not be able to change the shape of the bones. And if you are unable to change the shape of the bones, you will not change the orientation of the muscles that you're willing to change. So suppose you have tight back muscles, suppose for an example, and you're doing a supine hook lying breathing, but your back is like stiff, so you won't be able to get the expansion in the rib cage because you're unable to relax your back on the floor gentle and breathe in that position. So you will have to make sure you choose an activity as per your capabilities and assessments where you can be very relaxed and breathe on top of it and change the shape of the bones and then progress from that easy one to the harder ones. It is very important to be relaxed because if you're stiff, if you're rigid one unit, you're not going to introduce rotation in your system, you're not going to improve the joint range of motion. Like it's instinctive, like it's common sense. If you think about it, like if you're stiff, nothing's going to improve. You have to let go and relax, only then you will introduce motion in your body.
Yeah, I always find that the people who train a lot and they're used to, I don't know, they lived in the gym for years, they're not used to relaxing in an exercise because most of our training is creating tension, lifting heavier, moving faster. The intentions of that, right? So actually switching off and relaxing for a lot of people, even people who are not training in the gym all the time, but people who are just like highly stressed individuals, relaxing and being able to down regulate your nervous system is like a massive thing. Do you ever feel like there's some people that just won't switch off and relax? Say you're like one to one with someone on a call and you're like, what is going on? Like, this person cannot relax. Do
Yeah.
you get that a lot?
Powerlifters,
What is your strategy if someone
strongmen,
just can't switch off?
powerlifters, strongmen, bodybuilders at times. A lot of Gen Pop who have not trained a single day in their lives. Even them, they have a hard
So
time.
both people who train and gen pop,
You will find it
untrained and trained.
everywhere. Yeah, you will find it everywhere. These days, I'm getting few clients who are so sensitive in the neck, like nothing works, nothing. Like any position that you get into, after a few moments, it starts to uh, bring the neck. Like the neck is on, it's sensitive,
Yeah.
it starts hurting. So what you do is you start to find softer surfaces. Like instead of doing the supine or side lying on the floor, do it on the bed, on the mattress, so that your body is not hurting you. And then you bridge from there, and then make them go to the floor, and then you make them do the harder exercises. But yes, a lot of people cannot turn it off. They're constantly on, especially this area can make people go crazy, man. This area can make people go crazy. So it has to be the slowest, gentlest version of the drill that you can do, and then progress from there.
So you're making the environment more relaxing for them, so they don't feel like, so they can reduce tension.
Yes, the environment has to be. So suppose you are someone who has pain lying in sideline. You will find clients who cannot be on sideline because it hurts the shoulder, the neck, the hips. So
Yeah,
you
I've seen it with the shoulder quite a lot.
yeah, so that will not work. So you'll have to make them get into a position which does not hurt. That's the first rule. Because in theory, you will see, oh, sideline expands the ribcage the most. So do side lying. Theory is a different world. It's a fairy tale world, but practicality is different. You get into sideline, it doesn't work. So you get into a position which does not hurt. That's the first rule, where you can be relaxed. Then you have to expand from there. You have to make, so whatever hurts. So suppose sideline hurts, you do something else: seated, prone, supine. That doesn't hurt. Great. Expand there. Come back to check supine whether it hurts yet. Most likely, in most cases, if you do the expansion stuff there well, sideline will start to feel better. You will be able to tolerate that position for much longer.
Yeah, so say you had someone who's coming to you and they've trained for a long time in the gym. Do you sometimes feel like if you're regressing them back to, like sidelines not working, then we're going on to a bed, do you feel like this person sometimes thinks, like, what are we doing with these drills? It can be like there's so much like nuance and specific bits and pieces going on that do you feel like you sometimes lose a buy-in for keeping a client? And in that being said, do you feel like there's a heavy amount of education that you have to do on top of this to get that buy-in to keep someone doing a session to get the change you want?
So okay, so in such cases, like the meatheads who know that my body is capable of this. I lift so much, so I am strong and I'm powerful. With those people, I will use something which bends the shape of the bones. That is the biggest ROI, whether it's sit bone opening or ilium, side lying ilium on something to bend the shape on a hard surface. You lie down. Anything on a hard surface, I will be doing that. That works usually in most cases, but there are people who have gone so far into strength and muscular developments that pain pain just doesn't leave them now. So they've gone so far down the road. uh, I have a bodybuilder client who's
Are you saying it's irreversible to some extent?
yeah, like, you can make changes, but to expect that I will be all fine. Your bones have changed the shape up to a huge extent. Like, it's, even if it comes back, you will have some buffer space, but you cannot expect things to be like, oh, I'm getting all the pronation and all the expansion. No, not gonna happen. So you have to settle down for like less. There's a client of mine who is a professional bodybuilder, so huge, so big, but his outlet space is closed so much, like it's very tiny, and I make him sit on a kettlebell handle. That is the only thing that goes in.
Be hard then.
Yeah, but what can I do? Like, that's the only thing that goes in to create some space. So it is what it is.
So it's a more it's a more extreme passive measure you're using because he's got so much development the other way.
Yeah, things don't get in. The muscles have taken up so much space that things just don't get into spaces now. So so for those people who have gone down the rabbit hole of like strength and muscles, you have changed the shape of the bones over time. What you can do is you create some buffer space and play around with that. But you also have to understand the secondary consequences that your pursuit comes along with. If you are ready to go even further with strength and muscles, please go ahead. But do not expect things to be pain free. It's probably never going to be. So you have to have some buffer space act accordingly. And if you're a gen pop, like, why do you even need to do that? If your bread and butter is not being paid off by lifting heavy weights and getting the most muscular physique, if you see Jay Cutler at his peak, competing with Ronnie Coleman, huge muscular. After he retired, he shrinked himself, like literally he shrinked himself. He lost a ton of muscle mass. Why? He knew he was having a hard time moving around. He was having a hard time living his day-to-day life. Everything was like getting stuck. So he had to lose it for health purpose. And that made him happier after his Olympia days were done. So it's a huge example of you cannot be carrying the most amount of muscle mass and be really strong and be moving around like loose, relaxed, as if nothing happened. So it doesn't happen. There are trade-offs.
Yeah, so when it comes to someone who's lifted for years, you're trying to create a very small buffer for them to either
Yes.
have a bit more movement or get out of pain. But for Gen Pop, do you feel like that buffer is just easier to reach?
Yeah.
Like there's a bigger buffer available. So do you feel like in that sense you can make a quicker change?
Yeah, because they're a blank slate. I ask them to do this lift. They do it. They feel good. Great. There are people who are fixated on, no, I have to do this exercise. I have to do that exercise. Especially the gym bros. I tell them it's like a uh, agreement that goes on. That, see, things won't be perfect. Are you ready to manage symptoms? That's what we are after. If you're okay, fine. If you feel like I can make you pain free with the representation that you have, I'm not the person for you. I hope you find someone else who can do that. Wish you all the best. So at this point, I don't convince people because I just tell them it is what it is. If you want, we can work. If you think like you can be pain free with all the strength and all the muscle, I'm probably not for you. I can help you manage it. I can help you manage it and you'll feel much better. But does that mean you'll be perfect? Your foot will pronate really well? No. Will your outlet open really good? Probably no. So that, yeah.
That makes sense. So out of the two, you've got Gen Pop here, who's obviously very different to people who train hard, right?
Yes.
What is the biggest driver for losing ranges of motion over the years for just let's say Gen Pop to start with? What do you think the biggest driver is for losing motion in the body?
So a lot of people, when they lift, they're not bothered about the foot points of contact. They're just like, let me lift weights from point A to point B, as much weight as I can. Foot points of
All right,
contact.
so we're talking about the guy who trains hard. We're going to go Gen Pop after then. Let's go people who train then. So people carry on with that. We're going to go people who train hard first.
Yeah. So a lot of people who, whether it's Gen Pop or even a lot of gym bros, they're not focused on the foot points of contact. They just want to lift weights from point A to point B. No foot points of contact, no hip knee foot alignment focused on, no pelvis ribcage positioning focused on, no hand placement focused on. That over time, what it does, it reduces your ribcage's ability to expand. It changes the shape of the pelvis and makes it more externally rotated like this, which in turn also plays out at the knee. Your knee gets more biased towards extension. Your foot slowly starts to roll outwards.
So I'm just trying to simplify this from like a ground up perspective, right? Say we weren't thinking of foot points of contact and hand points of contact because obviously people don't know this when they
Yeah,
first go into the gym.
yeah.
What does that do to have that knock on effect to compress the rib cage and compress the pelvis? Is it creating a series of twists in the bones that then leads into that compression? Is that where it, if we
Yeah.
go up the line with it?
So foot points of contact. If your entire foot is on the ground and you're pressing through the inner half of the heel into the ground to do the lift, your center of gravity will be much back. Like you'll not get pushed forward like this, where your ribs are like flaring and your pelvis is externally rotating. So if you can hold on to your heels and push into the ground doing the lifts, your pelvis will be in a much better position. It will hold on to some space here, which will help you gain strength while also preserve some space in the pelvis. When your ribs are like this forward center of gravity, you're losing the expansion capabilities of your lungs. So if you can hold on to your body weight back on the heels, you will have some ability to expand your ribs, which is extremely crucial if you want to have shoulder range of motion. This opening helps you keep space in the hips. Ribcage helps shoulder. So foot points of contact matters a lot. A lot of people will get towards the toes when they lift, like pressing through the toes to lift, and over time they also develop bunions because too much of weight through the toes and pressing hard into the ground will create bunion shape. So you have to be on the heels and relax your forefoot while you are lifting.
Yeah, so you can see how confusing this can be for somebody who has no idea, like they've never
Yeah.
heard of like maintaining foot points of contact. Or for me, foot points of contact makes more sense than hands because we're grounded people, so when we don't tend to think about the hands as much,
Yeah.
do we? Uh, but yeah, I just find that a confusing concept for people to grasp because say you've been going to the gym for years and you're like, well, no one's ever spoke to me about foot pointer contact before, and is that just a general like lack of understanding across the board of fitness that the benefits of actually understanding that just are not there for most people?
Yes, even hand points of contact. You're doing a push up. So this is the of heel of the hand. This has to
Yes.
be in touch. This has to be in touch. Like these are like the balls of the toes. This
So say you're doing a press up. If we go to a press up, for example,
push up.
if
Yeah,
we
like this.
what's the typical position someone would do a press up in? Would they have more towards the edge of their palm
So a lot
if
of
they're not
people.
thinking about it?
Yeah. So a lot of people they kind of lose this contacts. This contact is very important. This is like the ball of picto heel and ball of the other toes. Your hand should be fully into the ground. It's just like the foot that pronates. Your hand fully onto the ground for maximum efficiency. I'm saying, and you will be pushing through this point, like this tiny ball bone here, pisiform. You are pushing through the inside border of the pisiform like this. As you come down, you will load this without losing the contact. So you load this way and then push through this. Yeah, this is meant to produce force into the ground. A lot of people do through here, bending the arm down in order to get the lift. So that over time, I'm telling you, even if you do not lift, if you look at gamers, coders, software coders,
Yeah.
engineers who are like constantly typing on the keyboards. They're constantly doing this motion on joystick. You're holding a joystick, constantly doing this, and coders on the keyboard doing this. This over time closes this space, and now they have carpal tunnel syndrome here now. So
Yeah.
this has to open. A palm has to relax and be flat on the ground whenever you're pushing.
Okay. I've never actually looked at the hand in that much detail, to be fair, so that's interesting to me as well.
Yeah, it
And
repeats.
one other thing on that,
Yeah.
say you're doing a press up, for example, in terms of fingers, are you having soft fingers or are you having straight fingers?
Yeah, so these are relaxed.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, these are relaxed. It's like the toes. You have the
Yeah.
ball
You
of
get like people who toe grip. You get the same. You get people who are
yeah.
gonna
This is toe
finger
gripping.
grip, right?
Exactly, this is toe
Yeah.
gripping. So this has to be like loose, relaxed because pressure is through this. This is just in contact. This is relaxed. If you're gripping this, which means like you lack range of motion in the shoulder, which is creating this in your hands.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So foot points of contact are important, and people don't know enough about it, and hands, and by not understanding that, we're getting screwed. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, you need just enough space. Anyone watching this, you don't need perfection. You don't need an entire palm touching like this. Relax. That's fine. As long as you can push through this point and as much space you can maintain, that's it. You just need enough for your day to day life and your life goals to be accomplished. You don't need perfection. You will never be perfect. I will not be perfect. Josh will not be perfect. No one is going to be perfect. Just have enough space so that you can live a good life. That's it.
Yeah. So I got a question on the back of this then,
Yeah.
because I don't know how you're going to answer this one, so I'm actually interested myself. If you were to pick one kind of sport out there, which was the most beneficial one for us to, and this can be like a generalized statement, you could just pick athletics, I don't know. But if there was one sport out there that could maintain ranges of motion and variability in movement, what would be your go-to in your head that you'd think this is the sport that someone should pick without knowing all of this? Like, imagine we didn't know any of this about
Hmm.
biomechanics,
Hmm.
and we're just, what's the sport we could do? What do you think it would be? Have you ever thought about that yourself?
Hmm. If I talk about a sport which can actually help, huh, get movement.
We're not going to get into the specifics of the sport either. We're just going to have a
Yeah, that's
generalized
right.
blank
So
statement.
any sport
Gymnastics,
which I would say not gymnastics. I would
not
say
gymnastics.
any sport which helps you not get fixated on certain patterns. So it, cricket gets you fixated on one position over and over again. Whether
Yeah.
you're playing football. Whether you're playing football, you're right leg person. You're externally rotating the leg and then hitting it over and over again with that right leg. So that is some.
So you're trying to find the most symmetrical sport where you're
I
not creating
I would
poor
say
adaptation.
recently, because of the Winter Olympics in Milan, I think what's that? Snowboarding, like you have the skates.
Not alpine skiing.
Yeah, something of that
Is it
sort.
alpine skiing?
Yeah,
I'm not that aware of winter Olympic sports. I'm just kind of guessing it could be alpine skiing.
yeah,
The
I
one where
think
they're
that's
going
it. That is, yeah.
across miles and uphills, downhills, and all that sort of stuff on skis. You're
So
talking about?
so you're like shifting your weight right and left, right and left. You are not fixated on any position. So you're not.
Yeah.
So any
So
sport, other
you're
sport.
basically mimicking the natural pattern of the
Yeah.
gait cycle by doing a sport like that, right?
You just have to move in that sport. You just have to move. I mean, of course there will be turns and all, but it's not like you have to turn in a very specific way. You have to do
Not
an
turning
activity.
left,
Yeah.
like going around a circle the entire time.
So I think that is good. uh, yeah.
So you
What
could just say skiing in a way.
skiing? Yeah. I don't think there is a fixed pattern, right? Like you just have to go down.
You probably have your biases to which side you prefer to
Oh, that
turn
is
on,
fine.
but
That's a different thing. But at least
yeah,
the
but if you're a
external
good
factor is
skier,
not acting, right? The external factor is not there. So
yeah,
in badminton or
cool.
tennis, you're using one hand a lot of time. You see, Rafael Nadal's left arm is way bigger than the right. So
So you're saying skiing?
yeah, that's what's coming to my mind right now.
Cool. No, I just wanted to see what your thought process was with it. So it's
Externally,
interesting.
you have no constraints externally, a fixed constraint. I mean, there is no fixed constraint.
Yeah.
That's what's coming to my mind. Yeah, everything else has some constraint or the other, and in a fixed pattern. So
Yeah, okay. Cool. It's the first thing that come to mind, and I think it's a good one.
yeah.
You never thought of that before, have you? What sport? I could tell you had to think about it quite a lot.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it quite a lot. Like every profession comes with its own occupational hazards, like either the gamer or coder, or you're a hairstylist, or you're a musician, or you're a chef. So everything has external constraint in a very specific way, in a very specific direction. So you don't do things on both sides the same way. There's one side which is like biased all the time.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go on the other side of the spectrum now. So that is the best sport for you, perhaps, to
Yeah.
maintain quality movement. So let's go to the worst sport. And again, just generalize it. Is it powerlifting?
Yeah, powerlifting, strongman. Yeah, if you want to lose range of motion, yeah, 100%. Yeah, that would be.
Quickest way to do
Yes, you'll be strong. Yeah, you can crush both of us under your armpit, 100%. But you will also lose motion. So yeah.
Cool. Okay, so skiing on the good side, powerlifting and strongman on the bad side in that
Man,
sense.
I've watched some skiing videos. It really impresses me at that high velocity, like alternating your body weight in a way. Like it's amazing. Like especially when you're going forward, right? You're going forward. I'm not saying the sideways. I'm saying the forward thing. Like
Yeah.
forward. Yeah.
You're going to Europe this year, so
Yeah.
you could go skiing, right? You're going in Feb, so ski season
Yeah.
still.
I
So
mean,
you got to try it.
no, I don't want to. I don't want to break my bones.
All right, so the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is asymmetries. So, do you agree that asymmetries will always coexist and they will increase when stresses go up?
Yes.
Whether that's because of overall stress management isn't there from the imagine just stress in general from a person, or when like load management isn't there as well. So do you feel like, say someone had an asymmetry, as soon as stress or load management isn't managed right, you will see an increase in that asymmetry popping up because they're going deeper into their stress pattern as such?
Yes. Yes. Uh, you will, over a period of time, you'll realize that you need those foot points of contact in order to manage your asymmetry. There's a lot of people will slowly start to roll out on their right side. There's the left foot, but just think it's the right. Uh, Over a period of time, people will start rolling out. Their body weight will go out on the outside of the right foot, and
Yeah, I know this personally for myself, to be fair.
Ye- yeah, so that has to be managed. You have to you have to arrange your workouts, your programming in a way so that you can have as much body weight on the right side on the inside border, so that you don't magnify your asymmetry over the years. Because if you just keep on lifting without focusing on this, you will slowly end you will end up like twisting the body into external rotation on the right side, and that will only magnify your asymmetries.
Yeah. So you said most of the time people are kind of falling onto the outside edge of their right foot. Is there cases where it's the opposite?
Body weight on the outside of the right is, yes, that will eventually end up happening for a lot of people. Foot can be arched on both sides. That can be
Yeah. So you typically not see someone who's shifted to the outside of their left foot.
the foot left foot could be arched, but the body weight is still on the right side.
So that will always be the asymmetrical pattern that
Yes.
people are
Yes.
falling into. And what is that called in PRI again? For using PRI language.
Oh, PRI, I think left AIC,
Players.
right BC, or something like PEC. But I find Bill's model to be like way more accurate in this,
Yeah, yeah.
in the right
Okay.
oblique orientations.
Yeah. So I think something that I was doing. I had knee pain for like 6, 7 years, right? And I'm going to have a question coming off of this because I want to see your thoughts on this. I had knee pain for a long time, and I got so focused on improving the relative motion at the ankle, the foot, and the hip that I actually begun to kind of decondition myself, and I didn't expose the tissue itself to actually being able to handle load anymore. Do you think there's a place where people decondition themselves sometimes, where they kind of go so far into these patterns and trying to fix patterns that they decondition themselves in terms of strength and fitness as well? Do you ever see that in terms of people you see?
So when it comes from a place,
It's
when
like
it,
they stop doing stuff
yeah,
because they're trying to fix a specific thing they've been told they have.
so when it comes from a place of fear, that can happen. But if it comes from a place of awareness, knowledge, that can help them. So suppose you're having pain on the right side. Suppose on the right side, on the right knee.
Yeah,
You stop everything and just mobilize things, thinking that one day it will be all good. That's fine. It could be. But if you still want to drive fitness, make sure the lift that you're doing is modified in a way where you still can hold on to the range of motion on the right. So you do the mobilization stuff, increase the space. Now modify your workout so that you can hold on to some of the space and still gain strength. So uh, a lot of people do Bulgarian split squat. Suppose a right foot forward Bulgarian split squat. Your weight going towards the toes. It's almost impossible for a lot of people to be extremely heel heavy, pushing through the heels while going down in a Bulgarian split squat. And they end up clawing the toes or like pressing through the toes. That can over time create knee issues. You don't have to stop lifting. Just get into a front foot elevated split squat on the right side, right lead leg, and maybe hold a kettlebell on the right side, so ipsilateral load, and just do that. You'll find it extremely hard. People who are used to doing lifts with extension and on the toes instead of the heels, the moment they get into a position where they're like vertical, relaxed, pressing through the heels, even without weights, they're smoked. Their legs are smoked because that's strength is a pretty vague word, I would say. Strength in what position and what strategy? So expanded strategy, pressing through the foot context through the heel, that will smoke your VMO and tibialis and quads without you even lifting a single weight. Yeah, and of course, if you can hold on to the points of contact and vertical torso, please load. Go and load. You will gain strength, no doubt about it. You will also
Yeah,
preserve
so
space.
you're talking about, like instead of chasing a specific issue you have or an asymmetry you have, it's better to understand how to manage that load within the gym so you're not deconditioning yourself as well. Because I feel like people get caught down that rabbit hole of trying to fix themselves with specific exercises. They come away from the gym and then symptoms go up because the overall exposure and the capacity in all of the joints kind of goes down. So, and that's kind of when I had knee pain, I stopped training legs because I was like, well, I need to fix these asymmetries going on. And then it's like, well, I didn't just have asymmetries, I then deconditioned myself in
Yes.
that process. So it's important to manage training, and actually coming away from training is
Yeah.
not really a good idea in that sense.
Yeah. Modify the exercises, right? Modify the exercises, reduce load. What usually ends up happening, people get fixated on the weight they lift rather than what they feel when they do the lift, how their body moves. They kind of get away from that. They are more fixated on the weight that I've lifted. Forget that. How did you lift matters. Once you lift with the correct strategy, optimal strategy, you will feel damn good and you don't have to stop lifting. You can lift and do the mobilization and breathing stuff along with it. And your programming over the months, you will start seeing pretty good changes happening to them.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, this is a quite complex one. And I say complex because if someone's listening to this and they're not aware of the difference between relative motion and orientation, then, and maybe you could kind of explain the difference just before we go into this. But obviously, we have relative motion, say the scap is moving across the rib cage, things are moving relative to one another.
Yeah.
And then we've got orientation. So instead of the scap moving across the rib cage, we just stay retracted and then just turn the upper body. That would be like orientation, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever consider that when you're trying to do an exercise to restore relative motion, say somebody does a poor form exercise where they're just rotating everything, that there's actually relative motion happening before the orientation has to occur anyway. So sometimes when we get really specific with execution on things, do you think there's somewhere in there that could be said, even if we perform things a little bit sloppy, that we're going to get a change anyway? As long as we've got hand points of contact and foot points of contact, then being sloppy can still get a change because relative has to happen before the orientation. Have you ever thought of it like that?
Orientation, definitely, like when your relative motion space expires, then you start compensating and orienting is not wrong. It's just that over time with load, orientation could be a problem. Nothing is a problem until it is. Now if you are orienting hard, like really orienting a lot, it will be very hard for you to hold on to the foot points of contact and the hand points of contact. It's going to be very hard. Like the moment you try to do orient really hard, your weight goes to the forefoot. You will not be able to manage that sinking heel heaviness feeling, or on the sit bone sinking feeling. You won't be able to. You're like getting slightly pushed forward, and if you're conscious about it, you will feel that. But then, of course, perfection is not the goal. You just need enough.
Yeah, so I guess where I'm going with this is, say you didn't have an understanding of the difference between relative motion, orientation, and all this kind of nitty gritty stuff that we kind of understand at a different sort of level. And say you were to do like an exercise, like a banded reach and row, where you're just continually rotating your upper body without knowing a lot, and you can just do a sloppy version of that, you'll get a change in the rib cage because you're improving some relative motion anyway.
Yes, yeah, you are changing the position. You are shifting fluids in the body, so definitely you can get a change. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Because I think sometimes a lot of practitioners will be very hot on form, and there's easy ways to achieve range of motion without knowing all this as well. And that might just be doing basic rotational drills that a lot of people are doing out there anyway, without knowing all these details.
Yeah, I mean, you can always optimize, but yeah, it should make you feel good. That's the most important.
Yeah. So say you were to do like a a lateral side bend with a dumbbell, a really light weight, and you're just repping it out, you're going to get a change in the rib cage because you're going to be compressing one side and opening the other. Even though it's not, it's not performed 100%, you're still going to get a change in the mechanics and the tissue quality in that area anyway.
Yeah, you can. This is an exercise which I usually don't do. But yeah, side bending, you can
That was
definitely.
just an example,
Yeah,
to be fair, but I'm thinking about people not knowing it, and can we just perform exercises that achieve range of motion without knowing these, the details about what's going on with the rib cage? If we're just rotating and we're turning, we're just mixing things up a bit,
yeah,
you're going to get a change anyway.
yeah.
It just might not be specific.
Yeah. It might not be the optimal, efficient, specific, but yeah, you do get some
Yeah.
changes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I think sometimes, like say if you've prescribed an exercise for someone and there's a level of understanding they need to execute that exercise, and the execution might not be there because, I don't know, the education might not be there. They might just struggle like completing it because they're not that good at moving or something. And sometimes I find that just giving someone a rotational drill, such as a reach and row, and just be sloppy with it and get loads of reps in, that they're probably going to get a bigger change than understanding all this other stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, could be. Yes.
If you
I've never
don't
tried it
say you're
though.
doing if you're doing homework and you don't have someone working one to one, or you prescribe a drill and you don't see someone for a week and then it's just messed up, I don't know how they're doing it. Like
Yeah. So
sometimes I think these, there's lower hanging fruits to without being complicated that can achieve range of motion as well.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
when people are really stiff,
yeah.
I'm talking about.
Yeah. You could use that. You could use that. With me, my clients are pretty different, so I make them do the very simplest of the stuff. So like,
So you feel like there's not a high level of execution needed anyway because
yeah,
it's quite
because if you have
simple.
to think a lot in my absence, that activity probably was not for you.
Yeah, was there any drills back in the past that you prescribed and now you look at and you're like, that was way too complicated to get the change that
Oh
I
my
probably
God.
wanted.
Like, this is, forget about drills, man. Forget about drills. I sometimes, suppose I'm in the toilet, in the washroom, or I'm taking a shower, or I'm walking down the street. Sometimes a thought would hit me like, "Shit, oh, that 2022 client of mine, I wish I found that person right now. I would have seen so much." Like, sometimes that guilt and regret, it just, uh,
Not known enough at the time.
yeah, I didn't know enough at that time. And I know I will look back at my current version in 2 years and then maybe think
So
like
there's
there are
yeah.
more efficient methods that I could have used with my current clientele. But when I look back like 2021, 22, 23, and oh God, not just the drills, even the way I talk to them, even the way so you have an honest conversation like this is what will happen, this is what will not happen, how much to expect, setting expectations, setting up a deal. That I wish, but you will only learn by messing it up. You can only learn doing business by doing business and not reading books on business. So that's the thing. I get a lot of guilt, but then I also realize that I would not be here if I did not make those mistakes. But I also tell myself that I have done a lot of good work that I could sustain myself and be here today. So it's okay. Like, you forgive yourself for the stuff you that
You've
was not in
forgiven
your
yourself.
control. Yeah, like things which were not in my control. uh
Yeah.
it happens with
Na-
everyone, every clinician, every
What
coach,
what
every
was the
domain.
exercise you gave that person just out of interest? Do you remember it?
So many people I did 1990 with. To start with, we all did 1990. A lot of
What
other,
feet on wall 1990 with a
yeah, feet
reach?
on the feet on the wall. Then later you realize that a lot of people do not even have the space to get into a 1990. They do not have the foot shape, the pelvic shape to get there. So you start much lower, in much lower as in demand wise. You start in a much simpler state so that they can change the shape of the bones and then get into 1990 way later. It's not the starting point. It could be like the intermediate, or even for a lot of people, even just doing that would be like the ending point for a lot of people that I see.
Yeah, so you were effectively without knowing you were starting people at like a very hard end goal drill when a lot of people just needed easier things that would
Way
work a little bit
easier,
more
way
efficiently to
easier.
start with.
If you look
Yeah,
at my coaching, someone who works with me will know. Initially, it looks so easy, so basic that people would wonder if a third person is watching. Like, is it that simple? Like, but even
just
those,
rolling around on the floor.
but those simple stuff also have a lot of nuance in them. What to sense,
Yeah,
what to do, when to feel what, all those stuff. So if you cannot do a side lying in a relaxed way, I cannot expect you to do a rolling drill or foot on the wall and right side doing this, left side doing that. Not going to happen. You just can't lie down relaxed on side lying and breathe in and out. If you cannot do that, like I'm not going to give you just because it sounds fancy or it has been shown on the internet, I'm not going to give you that exercise no matter what. So
yeah, yeah. So things have changed over the last 5 years in terms of
oh,
exercise you dish out.
ev- every 3 months, man, every 3 months when I get something in my model and it refines my framework and it keeps on upgrading. So right now I have something like my framework. It's like, okay, this if this happens, then this. If not, then we go this way. If not, then we go this way. So this
So
whole
you
flow chart.
like adapting your decision tree.
Uh,
You're like adapting the decision tree for like working with people as such.
yeah. Suddenly I will talk to someone or um on the internet. Something useful comes up, and then I think, oh, if this doesn't work, then I can insert this here, and then it should work. So it happens.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, which might be an enjoyable one for you. Since, I mean, what was your followers 2 months ago? Just out of interest on Instagram. No, say 6 months ago. Let's go 6 months.
6 months, I don't remember. I remember November till November, and it was 12,000 around
12,000. So you're at like 20, 21, 22 now.
22,
Um,
25. Yes.
what has been the most enjoyable comments you've had on your social media?
Yeah, comments. Okay. Uh, I knew that to get the reach and the brand name out there, I'll have to put out my face content. I was doing a lot of
You're gonna have to
graphics.
suffer.
I was doing a lot of graphics and pictures. That was good, but not enough to get that reach. I understood that I have to put my face out there. I did it. And I understood that if I have to grow the numbers, I'll have to like the duration. You figure it out while you do the drill. Yeah, the duration of the drill, uh, what to say, how to say, everything you will kind of figure it out. Like you initially you make longer videos, then you wonder like, this can be cut out, this can be cut out. So then you make videos which will generate an opinion. This is my honest opinion. I do not come from a place of dishonesty. It is what it is. This is what I feel, and this is what I've seen with my clients. Hence, I put this out. Now, the most hate comments I received was on barbell back squat videos. Anyone who knows about
That's the
ribcage,
most common movement in the gym.
yes, and that is why
So
it is
you
hurt.
won't expect some backlash.
I'll tell you something. I think it's in the Greek or Roman civilization back then where they used to, or Egyptian, I forgot. They used to worship Jupiter. Okay, they used to worship Jupiter. Entire civilization used to worship the planet Jupiter. Now, if someone says that, they would be considered fools. But back then, there were millions who did the same thing and they were not considered fools. So now they would be considered because it is different from what everyone is used to. Same for barbell back squat. It's not very different. Patterns repeat everywhere with human behavior. Barbell back squat, so widely used, so many people have lifted so much weights with that there is an ego component to it. That I lift this much, I lift that much. Strength is very much needed, and I am so strong. Great, but like, what purpose is it serving? Like, is it serving anything for your family, you, or your country? I don't think it's serving. Like, those extra plates are not serving any purpose in your life. But that's a different commentary altogether. What happens is people get attached with the beliefs. Now, if someone understands ribcage pelvis mechanics well, they will know that the risk to reward ratio with heavy lifting on a barbell back squat is not something that you would chase if you want a long term joint health from an orthopedic standpoint. I did not I did not say in the video that you stop lifting. I said there are other alternatives which are much better for your joint health, for your orthopedic health, which is safety bar squat, hex squat. You can even do split squats and so many other leg press, but it has to be done in a specific way. Instead of squeezing your shoulder blades and arching your back, there are other alternatives which do not do that, yet you lift pretty well. People got fired up, like weak, you're you are fragile biomechanics, you are weak and frail.
Oh, that's fragile biomechanics. I love that. That's a brilliant comment.
So
Start calling you that now.
there are so many personal no one came and commented about, okay, why do you think so, like what's the mechanics, why do you think the ribcage, the diaphragm, etc. are impacted with barbell back squat. Nobody commented on that, on the idea. Everyone's personal, very personal, and some of the stuff were like really really nasty, but I have a pretty stoic personality, so it's great for engagement. Keep on commenting. You will never deserve a reply from me because you did not come from a place of politeness, uh, curiosity. You came from a
Yeah.
place of like, oh, I know better. No, you don't. You are probably rotting in pain. You're probably someone who is lifting so heavy that now you're rotting in pain and you have that frustration. Why is that a person doing something else and probably is pain free? So pain frustrates people.
So, so do you think was that the most interactive post that you done because of
Comment wise, yes. Comment section
how
wise,
it
yes.
impacted if we didn't like it? Comments wise, yeah,
Comments wise,
but
yes.
not followers wise.
Followers wise, that was a different one. There was a TMJ tightness thing relating to the shoulder and hip mobility.
Yeah, I
That
saw
was
this one.
that blew up and that changed my account forever. It's still gaining a lot of views and followers. But the comment wise, the nasty were the barbell back squat one. So there was I think I saw guy from Pakistan who is a strength and who is a strongman or something commenting like really nasty on my reel. I understand. I don't expect good either, but people went really deep into it. But the good stuff, you see the good in the bad. There are certain people in the comments who are heavy lifters, Olympic lifters. If you go to their profile, they came in and they told the other people, no, what he is saying is there are risk to reward ratios. And if you do not have the position to start with, the shape to start with, that can give you a lot of problems, especially as a gen pop. He did not ask the strongmen and powerlifters to stop it because that you have to do it. But he said for the gen pop. And that was very refreshing to see that a lot of people who lift really heavy weights came in with a mind which is like full of critical thinking and then defended it as well. So that was pretty good to see as well.
Yeah, nice. You've definitely had the fair share of comments lately. I was actually going through them the other day and just laughing at them.
I was laughing at those comments, man. I was laughing. It does not impact my day. It does not impact my day. It only makes me think like it's just a matter of time that your joints give up and you start searching for solutions. And you will come to the compression expansion people some way or the other. If not me, a colleague of mine, you will go there someday or the other. It's just a matter of time. If you're in UK, maybe you will go to Josh Watson, but you might be from UK and trolling me in the reels, but one day you will go to Josh and he will make you do some breathing drills.
Yeah, I probably would, yeah. Trying to get away from you and they come to me and then they get the same.
It will be there. I think I want to say this to everyone who's watching this. If you want to be on social media, even for you, if you want to grow, you have to take stand for something that you believe in, and those were the stands that I took. Even in the other videos, like talking about how this is related to your posterior outlet opening and everyone loses their mind, and like the stretching strengthening people or the traditional physio people, they came after me like, oh, this doesn't, you don't know anything. Like, okay, that's fine. You stood by because you see results. I've seen things happening over and over again. I've seen people's bite change with breathing drills. I've just seen people's vision getting less blurry with breathing drills. I've seen that. And that is why I write it. Might sound crazy, but it has happened. And that is why I come from a place of experience. if I have to get anything viral, just put out your opinion in a way which can ruffle feathers, but that opinion has to come from experience. If that is just blank firing in the air, that should not be, that is not good. You have to have experience behind what you're doing and then put it out, because then you will not be affected by the comments, because you know what you can do and what you are doing. And when you have that self confidence, you will not be bothered by the comments. I'm not at all bothered by the
But
comments. I enjoy.
if you didn't have all that groundwork in place and that,
Yeah.
them years of experience, you'd see them comments and think, oh, am I doing something wrong here? You'd kind of double think it, right? But because you've had that experience
Yeah.
and you've seen the changes, that you're like, doesn't really affect me.
It doesn't even deserve my
Attention.
response.
Yeah.
Doesn't deserve. So, but it's very funny, very interesting to see how social media works, because if you have to gain a certain number of followers, like my goal is by this year 100K. If that happens, I know the hate is going to intensify. It is going to
Oh
intensify.
yeah, 100%.
But you have to hold on. You have to do it. You have to do the work, not get affected by it. People can write, and people are not. And by the way, social media, people are not really meaning, like from the bottom of their heart, what they're meaning. So suppose I see Josh writing shit about barbell back squat, I will write, "Oh, Josh, you're weak and frail." Blah blah blah. That's it, done. I will then scroll down to the next reel and I will see some geopolitical stuff and I will write a comment there, nasty comment there. I will slide there. I will see some other reel and I will write there. It's not like I have a personal agenda against Josh Watson. No, I don't.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably writing it on other political or geopolitical affairs or any other religious stuff, anything on the internet. I'm going to write it there as well. So it's not like I am writing it for you. Those people write it everywhere. Someone who can write a nasty comment on your profile is probably writing it on others' profile as well. Because a truly happy person is not writing anything negative on anyone's profile. Only if the comment, which is seldom, will be a positive, okay, like I'm happy for you, congratulations, those stuff on someone else's profile. They will not write anything negative. I've understood this.
I agree. All right, I've got a question for you before we round things up, right? What are your physical goals at the moment?
My physical goals is, I love this pain-free body. My goals is to load as much as possible with the foot points of contact and expansion and center of gravity back as much as I can. If I see beyond a point, so suppose in in front foot elevated split squat on the left side, suppose an example, I use 15 kilos of weight and do it over and over again. I get really good at it. I will use 17.5 kilos, then 20. But if I see at 20 I'm like wobbling around, that's fine. I will do 17.5 so much, then slowly it opens up way for 20. I will not just go to 20, 22.5. No, I don't have those goals. I want my joints to be smooth, because I am in a profession where I am helping people get feel and move better. If I am stuck in this, it's here, it's there, it's hurting, that doesn't look good. And physique wise, so strength wise, those are, if you can do front foot elevated squat and everything with the foot points of contact and expansion with those weights, you are strong enough for life. You're pretty strong enough for life. Anything in life that you need strength for, I have it. I already have it. But am I lifting crazy ass weights? No, I'm not. But I'm strong enough for life. Secondly, physique
So
wise,
you're happy with sort of where you're at physically, and it's just about maybe I can improve a little bit on some numbers if that's on the cards without losing like range of motion.
yeah.
But you're not in the chase of anything.
No, no
Like
number chasing.
anything
No
more than
number
you have.
chasing. Physique wise, I would want to like be slightly in a Ronaldo physique. You know, that physique. I would like to have that physique. Or if you know Memphis Depay, if I'm pronouncing his name right, from Netherlands. Those physiques, the footballers physique. If I can get that, I'm working on that. And I'm losing a bit of, like, I'm getting more defined here, but that's all that I have. Like, look good if you take off your shirt on a beach. Look good. Your muscles are pretty, like, decent shaped. You are strong enough for life. You have a cardiovascular base so that you don't like pant after climbing stairs.
Yeah.
I'm done. Like, I'm happy. I'm a Gen Pop person.
Okay, so cardio wise, what do you do to increase cardiovascular fitness for
I
yourself?
would say I do elliptical. So now it gets into the nitty gritty. Elliptical. Why elliptical? Because in an elliptical machine, I can have my upper arm rotation, those bars you hold on to, and your feet remain on a pedal so that I can hold on to the heel heaviness and s- cycle my legs in a way so that I can hold on to the heel heaviness ball of big toe.
Very, very specific to what you preach.
Yes, exactly. I'm not going to go on a long run to do cardiovascular fitness. It could be, it is great. You can do it. In my mind, if I can hold on to as much space as possible while still getting the adaptation, I would go for that. I would always go for that.
So do you feel like by I guess saying, right, I'm going to use the elliptical because that is what's best for me right now, and I'm going to make sure I don't surpass, I don't know, 17 kilos on a front foot elevated split squat because I don't want to lose range of motion. Do you feel like in a way that kind of limits your, well, it does, obviously, it limits your physical peak in terms of fitness and strength, but do you feel like for you that doesn't matter because your goal is, I don't need this physical peak, I just need to be able to move well and be able to help the people I'm working with, so that isn't actually a goal of yours? Because a lot of people might listen to that and be like, but I want to be stronger than that. I want to be fitter than that. But you just think that's just where you're a different person. Because me listening to that, that bores the life out of me thinking I'm only allowed to go on an elliptical. I want to get on a bike. I want to be able to go for a run. I want to get on an air bike, like mix stuff. I want to do every lift I can do, pull ups, chin ups, whatever, like mixing everything together because I enjoy doing that. And for me, being physically fit is a fun thing as well. So do you feel like in a way that you kill your sense of fun by doing this? And this is just my mindset if I was to
Yeah,
approach
yeah.
my training like you.
That is why I always say, like, everyone has such different goals. A lot of my clients, they don't even want to get fit. They just want to have a pain-free day-to-day life. They're happy with it. So now, coming to that, coming to my goals, uh, it's not like I will not lift weights. I will, but I will see if my foot pressure is like really crumbling, foot points of contact is not really there. I will slightly back off and master the last weight, which is good, to a point where I can then go to the next level. This is what I do. Because physical peak. Now, when you talk about physical peak, I'm telling you, a lot of the human population would love to have the joint space that I have. It's a beautiful feeling to not have any issues. That is also a part of physical peak, by the way.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like there's different aspects to what you believe your physical peak is.
Yeah,
But for me, I guess I accept the trade-off that I would rather be able to, and this is very different from your goals, but I'd rather be able to do
exactly.
a front squat of 100 kilos. I'd rather be able to do 15 pull-ups. And I'd accept if I have some pain every now and then, if I have restriction, I'm like, well, that's fine because I enjoy training, I enjoy feeling strong and being in the gym. And if I ever go out and do something in life, I feel because I've got capacity across different areas that I'm strong enough to compensate even if I didn't have the pure range of motion available, I need to do the thing that's in front of me. So I guess I kind of accept the trade-offs
Yeah,
because
exactly.
the trade-offs are more important to me and they make me feel better than actually being how you are as such with having complete freedom.
Trade-offs. Always trade-offs.
Yeah.
What trade-offs are you willing to make? It's You're saying like, I want to do this, be strong and great. This, you can also see it in a way, in a different perspective. There are people who are chasing more and more and more money, and there are people who are like, I have enough, I want to focus on other aspects in life. Some people, I want to lift as much as possible, that makes me happy, go for it, go do it. I want to make as much money as possible, go for it. But there are people who are like, I've made enough for what I want in life, I want to now like go into other aspects. So if you see, it's like very, it goes into other aspects of life as well. I want to create a brand, I want to get an Instagram page with 100K followers, I want to have fulfilling relationships in my life, I want to be strong enough for life, I want to have good aerobic base, I also want to know a lot of other topics in the world. So it's like, I want to travel the world and make money, travel the world. So a lot of goals. So For
Yeah.
me, priorities pretty different from me. Yes.
Yeah, I suppose you get a lot of people like me coming to you with a similar mindset to me, where I guess like the physical peak of what I'm trying to get to. There's not really a goal I have, but it's just trying to be fit and strong across multiple different aspects. So in a way, that makes me feel good.
Mm, yeah.
So yeah, you must have loads of people coming to your way that are similar in to
Mm,
how I approach things.
yes.
And I guess for me, it's a constant strive for progression in everything in the gym, because
Yes. Yes.
that sense of progressing, I don't know, squats, pull ups, whatever we're doing, the satisfaction I get from that is enough that I'm like, well, if I've got zero hip IR and I can do that, who cares?
Yeah. Everyone has their own highs. Like everyone gets their own highs from something, and
Yeah,
that is where people tend to judge others if their highs are not same as as someone else's. So there are a lot of people who are into running half marathon, full marathons, and they might end up looking down on people who don't do that, and that is absolutely wrong. That is wrong. Everyone has their own priorities. Are you? So the thing is, are you prioritizing health for longevity, wellness, strong enough for life, have enough cardiovascular health? If yes, now what you can do is you can peak into something like strength or aerobic. Now you can do whatever you want to. Some people are just happy with that base and they're like, yeah, I want to focus on other things as well.
yeah. I guess you just said some people are happy with that base. I guess your base and what you're happy with is very different to my base.
Oh yeah,
And
100%, 100%. Like how you see your fitness is very different from how I see fitness. How you see money is very different from how I see money. How you see relationships is how very different from how I see relationships. If we could, like, as humans sit down with each other and talk and discuss like how what your reality is different from someone else's, and that will make so much of sense. So time and effort into something is time and effort away from something. If I want to do something, suppose I want to do a lift, like I want to progress really high in a lift, I have to devote a lot of time energy into getting really good at it. So,
yeah,
and that might also bring a lot of like, I'm stiff here, I'm like locked up, I'll probably go to some chiropractic sessions, and that takes away a lot of time from me, which I can devote into something else. So,
yeah.
so
So
that
I guess in the differences in our line of work are we've built our kind of businesses on who we want to feel like ourselves in a way. So even though like a bodybuilder could come to you who's in a completely different mindset to you, you understand that your norm is where your norm is, right? For your base camp, for example, and you can appreciate where people are coming to you from.
yeah,
And in terms of my business, I'm trying to, as much as I'm appreciating what people's goals are, I have a very different emphasis where I'm trying to not just improve motion and pain, but I'm trying to do that in line with getting people strong and fit at the same time, because the type of niche that I'm with, they love doing that, and that's kind of who I'm working with.
yeah, like I also can get people like pretty strong. It's just that that strong probably won't be like uh, that you put up on Instagram and it gets a lot of views. Not like that. Strong enough for life, pretty strong, feeling confident, 100%. But beyond the point, because every business has its own target clientele. So,
Hmm.
and like, so for people wondering, the kind of clients that I see have a hard time peeing, pooping, getting erections, those are the clients. And
Yeah, so there's other health reasons behind
exactly.
movement in the first place.
Exactly. So for those people, so everyone is dealing with a different clientele. So Josh has clients, and Josh wants, okay, you get over that nagging shoulder pain so that you can go and do a lot of overhead presses and feel really good. Pull ups, do a lot of pull ups. My clients
Hmm.
are not even thinking of getting into the gym. If I tell them we will get you stronger in the gym, they'll be like, I came to you because I cannot empty my bladder.
I want to go to the gym.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of the gym. If I talk about the
Yeah,
gym, they would be like, "No, no, no, you're not the right person." They will be like, can I empty my bladder? That's the feeling that I'm after. That's it.
Yeah. Did you ever know you'd be working with such specific cases?
I had
After your first sciatic
no,
case,
no,
that you'll be
no, no,
doing,
no, no, no. Now things are getting way, way, way more complex
you're
now.
getting deeper in a rabbit hole each session with someone.
Yeah, even clients like there are clients who. So recently, I've been working with someone and young guy. He always had a hard time lying in sideline because that gives him like a lot of flaring up on the neck. I said, okay, let's do some other positions and then get you to sideline to see if that hurts. We did other positions. He did well. Came to sideline, and I saw he's very restless in sideline. I asked him like, what happened? He said, I asked, are you feeling pain? He said, no. I said, then why are you restless? He said, the anticipation that it might come anytime is making me restless. Like that's the kind of clients that I'm dealing with these days. I know it's only going to be
What
complex from here on.
was that in regards to something painful happening?
Yeah, in the past, like sideline probably
Oh, I
hurt
see.
so much that person
Yeah, yeah,
sleeps in supine with pillows on the side, like long stack of pillows on the side, so that it can be in supine. So
yeah,
and then sideline hurts and the anticipation making them anxious. So
yeah.
yeah,
Interesting cases.
very very like it's very different case. I'm telling you,
Yeah, it's a
look
different ball
down
game.
people who look down on others being like, oh, you're weak and frail, I'm hardworking, I'm in the gym, I'm a warrior. It's fine, we all have a world view. We think everyone is like maybe like that, like strong and doing good. No, just enter a hospital and you will see people struggling to even live. So there are
That's very true.
multiple worlds in the same world. There are multiple worlds, and whom are you willing to serve? And if I feel like, so the bodybuilders, powerlifters, everyone come to me for their pain issues, I tell them like it's not going to be like a fairy tale thing. Like you will have issues, just that we will manage as much as possible. And if they come from a mindset that no, I want to be pain free, I'm like, okay, I'm not the one. I If I cannot do something, I'm not the one. Hope you find someone else. So
Good. I was going to say, where can people find you? But to be honest, most people are going to be from your socials and mine. Yeah, but your Instagram handle's Fractal Biomechanics. And
fractal.biomechanics, yes.
is there anywhere else?
No.
You don't have a YouTube at
YouTube,
the moment, do you?
YouTube, I'm not really active, so
No, okay.
it's Instagram.
Just Instagram. Okay. Cool. Thank you. It was good conversation today, diving into
Yes,
a lot of different things.
yes, exactly, exactly.